This is Ingvar, and in this video we are going to talk about and look at a game by Andrey Esipenko, the 15-year-old Russian who made a splash in the Rapid when he beat Sergei Karjakin, following a string of great results. But following that that win, he didn't lose. Following that win, he actually lost against Swidler in the next round, and then he fell a little bit from the top, so perhaps he ran out of steam. But nonetheless, made a huge name for himself, and he seems to be doing the same in the Blitz portion. And he started fantastically. He drew against Shakhriar Mamedyarov, he drew against Peter Lego, then he beat some very strong grandmasters, Sergei Movsesian, Altai Safarli, Luke McShane, drew against Wang Hao, and then he beat Vasily Ivanchuk and Alexander Grishuk. Alexander Grishuk, the 3-time World Blitz champion, and Vasily Ivanchuk, the former World Rapid champion. So incredible players, incredible score, until finally in the 9th round, in the rematch against Karjakin, he lost. And well, you can see that game on Agadmator's channel. I will put a card where you can see that game. He had the win in that game. And then another tough opponent, he drew against Hari Krishna, the Indian number 2. And then he lost against Le Quang Liam, who was the former World Blitz champion as well. So tough schedule, but great results for the 15-year-old. And so I decided to choose a game. And at first I was going to select the win against Grishuk, because he's probably the biggest name of those that he beat. But in the end, I decided to choose the game against Luke McShane. My apologies to my friend Luke to be showing another loss of his in this tournament. But I thought it was interesting because of it's an opening that I know well, and also I found the rook lifts in the game to be quite unusual, as we'll see. And I have been thinking about rook lifts recently because of my friend Jack Tuvelier, and he has a YouTube channel as well, which I'll link here up here. And the game I'll link to, if you go to game 3, he has some nice rook maneuvers, some rook lifts. But on to the game, enough talk. So Esipenko with white, and he opens with d4. Knight f6 by Luke McShane, c4, c5, d5, and here black has a choice. Will he play the Benko gambit? Will he play the Benoni, or the check Benoni, which he played here with e5? This is, well, how to say, you know, it's a closed opening with a closed center, so very strategical, and exact opening lines are not that important. It's more important to know the ideas. And when I first encountered this, when I started playing tournaments, I thought this was kind of an old guy opening. This is what you play when you are sort of semi-retired and don't want to, you know, remember theory, just want to know the plans. And then I started playing it myself from time to time and had quite good results with it. So play usually goes like this. White will set up his pawns like this, and the center is closed. Bishop e7, knight f3, knight d7, h3. And white's plans usually involve playing a3 or b4, or somehow organizing a break with f4. And if we rotate it, black usually tries to go for a b5 break, or to break with f5. So play usually revolves around these breaks. Black plays here a6, a4 by Esipenko, and Luke went with a plan that I don't always employ myself. I usually castle here, but Luke went with h5. I think I usually see this plan when white is going bishop d3 and putting this knight on e2. and the plan for black is usually to play h4, and then you can use this square for your knight, and you're trying to control some black squares, especially f4 in white's camp. But Esipenko, he plays bishop e3, knight f8. This is the usual maneuver to go along with h5. Put the knight on g6. Then you can play like we said, h5, h4, and knight to h5. Queen d2, knight comes to g6, and now g3. So controlling f4. But on the other hand, black can play h4 now. And white does not want black capturing here, as that will weaken the pawn structure on the king side. So he plays g4. But having played g3 and g4, we have avoided the en passant rule. So now the question becomes if black can do something to control these squares. So castles by black, it's quite safe to castle because white doesn't really have any big breaks. This pawn is protected. If bishop g5, we can simply play knight h7. Nothing to worry about. So bishop b2, finishing development, rook b8, king f1. It doesn't really matter if you castle or play king g1. Most likely the rook is, if you don't play f4, the rook is probably more useful on the h file, preventing, if there's a sacrifice on g4, at least you're attacking h4. So knight h7 and king g2. So sometimes black likes to put something on g5, especially if the queen is, well, let's say mucking around somewhere else. You can play knight g5, try to exchange off your black squared bishop eventually, and then this square here f4 will become tremendously weak. However, Esipenko has arranged 3 pieces to control the g5 square, so this plan is not currently available to black. So he has to wait around a little bit. Bishop f6, rook a to b1. Going for the break we mentioned earlier in the game, b4. Rook to e8. This is to clear the f8 square for one of the knights. Bishop d3, and here Luke takes a decision. He decides to give up a pawn. Plays knight to f4. And this is sometimes a good plan in King's Indian positions, sometimes in these positions as well. You give up your knight, you give up a pawn, but you get this black squared bishop from white. So now you have an unopposed black squared bishop, and you will play for the domination on the dark squares. Knight f8, this knight is come to g6, where it's controlling some black squares. But Esipenko is calm. He plays knight e2, g5. Again, this fits well with the plan. This controls f4 further, and since white doesn't have immediate access to the e3 square with a knight, it will take some time. Maneuver like this. Let's make it another color. I like playing around with colors. You know, take some time to go to e3 from where you can go to f5, which is sort of the only knight outpost for white. So black doesn't have to worry about that just yet, and he can also just capture it once it arrives there with a bishop. So black tries to control the black squares. But Esipenko now breaks on the queen side with b4. So he's doing the right thing. I mean, if he gives black too much time, black will try to form a blockade on the black squares, and he will have probably close to sufficient compensation if white does nothing. But Esipenko plays very actively. Queen takes b4, bishop e5, and now c5, opening things up. He is up a pawn, and if black can't really do anything, it's going to be hard to prove the compensation. Queen takes c5, bishop to d7. He plays a5, and yeah, the next move the computer really disliked. It already thinks white has a considerably better position here, but knight f4 is probably not a good move here. Okay, white takes, yeah, more or less forced, well, completely forced, otherwise this is dropping. And now you kind of have to take with the bishop. You can't take with the pawn really, because this looks like a blockade that will it's not gonna last. So he took with bishop. I'm sorry, I forgot to change the color of the variation, but this is how the game went. Bishop takes f4. Rook to b6, and yeah, this is what attracted me to the game, really. Bishop c7, and now a most unusual rook lift. I don't remember seeing a rook shifted like this on the 6th rank. So instead of retreating, he shifted the rook over to the h file with rook h6. A most unusual maneuver in the middle game. But it makes sense here because black doesn't have any defenders on the king side, and this is just completely weak. And if you force black to defend it by playing your rook to h5, then the light squares are just becoming chronically weak. So king g7 was played by Luke and rook h5, and this is a huge problem. Bishop f4, but now e5, and look at these pawns opening up for the bishop, which makes sense of the rook, and the position is just now completely lost for black. He played rook h8, trying to exchange off this suddenly active rook. King takes h8, and now rook e1, and this is just total domination by white. He's going to push his pass pawn at his leisure. The queen can maneuver to go around threatening mate. All the aces are held by white here. e6, takes, bishop c6, attacking the bishop, and of course bishop e4, blunting the only active piece black has. And now white just continues with the attack. e7, queen d6, queen f5. Mate is threatened here, so queen h6. But now the final assault, king to h8, and now another rook lift on the 6th rank. I don't think I've ever seen this. Rook e6 and rook g6. Have you ever seen a game like this with 2 rook lifts on the 6th rank? Let me know in the comments if you have, because I don't remember seeing such a game. Yeah, the game is not completely over. It's made in a few moves, and the official score actually says queen h6, which I don't believe, because you might as well resign. So I believe he must have played queen takes e7, and after rook h6 things happened as in the game, but the official broadcast says queen h6, takes and mate. So maybe he just wanted to get mated quickly, but I don't really understand that. So I think he took an e7 and then rook h6. But nonetheless, an impressive win by Esipenko, and great result on day 1 at the Blitz. And yeah, this is a name to look out for, and I think we must do that. So until the next one, bye bye.